Good morning, all of you. Anchal, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So we are on preparation of lyophobic colloids. There are different methods of preparation of lyophobic colloids. Means we have to apply special methods. Chemical methods. Chemical methods means double decomposition, oxidation, reduction. So that is chemical method. Then electrical disintegration, then peptidization. First one, biochemical methods. By double decomposition. First one is double decomposition. It is arsenic oxide, that is As2O3 plus H2S. As2 plus H2S is As2S3. Arsenic sulfide salt. Arsenic sulfide salt plus one method, that is double decomposition. Both this As2O3, from As2O3 As and from H2S S. So As2S3 plus H2. And next is SO2 plus H2S. SO2 plus H2S. So here S in water, that is sulfur salt. S in water, S3S plus 2H2O, SO2 plus H2S, 3H2S is 3S plus 2H2O, 2H2S is 3S plus 2H2O. So here, both are with H2S. Both are with H2S. Next is by hydrolysis, FeCl3 plus H2. FeCl3 H2. These are chemical methods, chemical reactions. So here, FOH plus H. So hydrolysis of ferric chloride gives ferric hydroxide, that is FeOH thrice. Then you can make gold sol AuCl3 plus H2O plus HCl2 plus H2O plus formaldehyde HCl2 gives Au plus HCOOH plus HCl. So you can get gold. So these are the chemical methods by double decomposition, oxidation, reduction, then hydrolysis by different methods. Next method is
Ma'am,
next by electric. Next by electrical disintegration. This is also called Bredik's arc. This includes dispersion and condensation. For example, a gold bar on heating, the atoms are getting dispersed and then it is cooled in the dispersion medium so that gold soul can. So for that, can take a vessel in which ice is kept to condense it, and gold bars are kept. Gold bars are kept, and it is connected to electricity, positive and negative. And intense heat is given to disperse its sublimation. Intense heat is given by passing electricity, so that this gold is dispersed. So these gold atoms and this water is cooled by putting ice. So this dispersed gold atoms get condensed in that dispersion medium, and we can get the gold shape. This is called electrical disintegration or Bradix effect. And the next method is peptization. For peptization, you can take a precipitate. So that is the converting a precipitate, process of converting a precipitate into a colloidal solution by shaking it with small amount of electrolyte. Small amount of electrolyte is required for the stability of the sole. So what is peptization? Peptization is the process of converting a precipitate into a colloidal solution by shaking it with the dispersion medium with small amount of electrolyte. So these are the methods of preparation of lyophobic colloids. Now, next is purification of colloidal solution. Our blood is a colloid. If so many electrolytes are present, then the coagulation takes place. So we have to remove the extra electrolytes from blood. That is called dialysis. Small amount of electrolyte is required for the stability of this colloid. But the presence of large amount of electrolyte will coagulate it. So we have to remove this extra electrolytes from the colloids. For that, we'll be using dialysis. For dialysis, colloid is taken in a container, maybe parchment container or in a bladder. So colloid is taken and water is passed from here. This is colloid which is contaminated with electrolytes. Electrolytes means ions and charged particles. So we call it as crystalloids. These are colloidal particles. Ions are smaller. The presence of this ions will coagulate this colloid. So this colloid, which is contaminated with ions, means with a crystalloid, taken in a parchment bag, and it is immersed in or suspended in water, and ions can move through the pores of this parchment bag. And if you give an opening here, then due to this flow, what will happen? Water will be entering this. Water will get into this. So in that, ions will get dissolved. And if you give an opening over here, then what happens? If you don't give this opening, let this water flow, what will happen? Solvent will enter and this volume will be increasing. Now since we are giving a low pressure here, what happens? Water is moving there, that will the entire solvent after dissolving this ions will be coming out. If you don't give this opening, this will be expanding like osmosis. But if you give a low pressure over there, then with that will enter solvent will be getting out after dissolving this ions. Ions can be going along with this water. That is how we can reduce the amount of ions. That is how we can reduce the amount of ions or electrolytes, or we can say crystalloids, and thus we can purify. And thus we can purify this color. But continuous or prolonged dialysis will take away that small amount of electrolyte, and so the problem creates. So it is our duty to keep a requisite amount of electrolyte in this colloidal solution. So all the ions should not be removed. For the stability, how much is required, that is to be kept inside the colloid. And suppose lots of ions, lots of crystalloids are present, then it will be a dangerous situation. So dialysis actually is slow process. To make it faster, we do electrodialysis. We know that these ions are charged. So here you give one plate, positive and negative field. So the charge particles will be getting attracted towards this plate, and dialysis becomes fast. So this is a purification method, that is dialysis. Process of electrolyte is essential for the stability of colloidal solution, but larger quantities coagulated. So the process of reducing the amount of electrolytes means impurities to a requisite minimum is known as purification. So this is one method of purification of this impure colloid. Another method, so one method is dialysis. To make dialysis faster, we do electrodialysis. Another method is ultrafiltration. For that, specially arranged filter papers are used. We call it as ultrafilter papers. This normal filter paper has got bigger pores through that colloidal particles will be passing. To reduce the size of this pores, what we have to do, this ordinary filter paper is to be dipped into a special solution called colloidion. So we are reducing or blocking, or we are reducing the size of the pores, and such filter papers are used for this filtration. So once you filter this colloidal particles, then that colloidal particles are mixed with the fresh dispersion medium to get the colloid. For that, the process is called ultrafiltration. So ultrafilter paper is prepared by how? By soaking the filter paper, ordinary filter paper, in a solution called colloidion solution. Colloidion solution is 4% solution of nitrocellulose in a mixture of alcohol and ether. And thus we are reducing, and you dip it and dry it, thus we can reduce the size of the pores, and this ultrafilter paper can be used to filter this colloid. So colloidal particles will be remaining as a residue in the filter paper, and the electrolyte will get dissolved, and it will be going through the pores, small pores, and we can get colloidal particles, and this colloidal particles are mixed with fresh dispersion medium to get the pure colloid. So these are the purification methods for impure colloid. Impurity in a colloid is the presence of large amount of electrolyte. Next is properties of colloidal solution. First one is Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect, we have already learned what is Tyndall effect. The scattering of light by colloidal particles in all directions is called Tyndall effect. If you pass a torchlight through muddy water taken in a vessel, then you can see the path of the light. During the projection of a cinema, in the picture hall, there is a lot of dust and smoke. So you can see from the projector, the path of light is visible. That is called Tyndall effect. What is Tyndall effect? The scattering of light by colloidal particles in different directions. That is called Tyndall effect. So there is a condition that is the diameter of the dispersed particle should be bigger than the wavelength of the light used. Means we know that colloidal particles are bigger than the true solution particle, but smaller than suspended particle, but the size of the colloidal particles are bigger as compared to the wavelength of the light used. So the diameter of the dispersed particle should be bigger than the wavelength of the light used. This is the condition for the Tyndall effect. Next is Brownian movement. What is Brownian movement? When pollen grains are put in water, you can see a zigzag motion. That zigzag motion is present in the colloidal solution also. The particles are always in the zigzag motion. The continuous zigzag movement of colloidal particles in a colloidal sol is called Brownian movement. Actually, that causes stability for the colloid. These particles are always moving in different direction, random motion. What happens? These particles of dispersion medium are always hitting these dispersed phase particles. So there is always a movement inside the colloid. So that causes the stability. But the actual cause of stability, the question is asked here to say that presence of equal and similar charges on colloidal particles. There are positively charged colloids, negatively charged colloids. In a negatively charged colloids, all the particles are negatively charged. All the dispersion medium particles are negatively charged. They repel each other. So due to this repulsion, it gives a stirring effect. That means somebody is stirring the colloid always. Otherwise, what will happen? They may settle down. If they don't repel each other and move here and there randomly, these particles will settle down. So presence of equal and similar charges on the dispersed particle causes stability of the colloids. Now, why they are repelling each other? They have charge on the particle. Charge on the particle means all colloidal particles carry similar type charge, same charges, negative. There are no negative charges. Positively charged colloid contains the particles. All particles are having positive charges. Is there a charge on the colloidal particle? Yes, that is experimentally verified. Charge on the colloidal particle is verified by some methods. Why the colloidal particles are carrying the charge? That is no much explanation, but they say preferential adsorption. This is due to preferential adsorption. How those colloidal particles are getting charged? So for that, let's see. To know the charge of the colloidal particle. Suppose I have taken Ki solution. When AgNO3 is added, when AgNO3 solution is added to Ki solution, AgI precipitate will be formed. That is a precipitate, just like a suspension. So this AgI, so lots and lots of Ki, so many Ki molecules in the form of K plus I minus, K plus I minus, I minus. When dissolved in water, this K plus and I minus is separated. So I am writing I minus separate plus K plus and I minus. So many K plus and I minus separate. Now when this AgI is formed, when AgI is formed, that will be preferentially absorbing a common ion. What is a common ion here? The solution that is I minus. So this will be in contact with I minus. So around this I minus, I minus, I minus, I minus. So that is called a preferential absorption. Once this I minus got absorbed on this particle, around that this K plus will be coming and stand. I minus got attached to the colloidal particle. So around that K plus, K plus, K plus, K plus. This alignment will be formed. Now, this is a fixed layer. I minus is the fixed layer. And the next is called the diffused layer. So one is fixed layer and one is the diffuse. Between this fixed layer and diffuse layer is a seat of potential. We call it as electrokinetic potential. This potential, it is a seat of potential. We call it as electrokinetic potential, which is also called zeta potential. Zeta potential. Between the fixed layer and the diffuse layer, there is a between the fixed layer and the diffuse layer. Fixed layer is this I minus layer, which is already in contact with this fixed layer. Around that, this will be standing, that is called the diffuse layer. Between this fixed layer and diffuse layer, there is a seat of potential called electrokinetic potential or seat of potential. Both the layers together we call Helmholtz electrical double layer. Helmholtz electrical double layer. So, colloidal particles are charged. What type of particles here? That is negatively charged, Ag. We represent as Agi slash ions. So Agi colloid can be negatively charged, Agi colloid can be positively charged. That depends upon the situation. When Ki is added to AgNO3 solution, I'm doing opposite. When Ki is added to AgNO3 solution, Ag plus NO3 minus, Ag plus NO3 minus. So many plus and minus ions got separated. Again, when Ki is added to AgNO3 solution, the precipitate form is Ag ion. It will be absorbing a common ion. What is the common ion here? Ag plus. So this Agi will be absorbing Ag plus Ag plus. So here Ag plus Ag plus. So fixed layer is Ag plus, and around that will be NO3 minus. Around that will be NO3 minus. NO3 minus. NO3 minus, that is the diffuse layer. Between this fixed layer and the diffuse layer, there is a seat of potential called as zeta potential or electrokinetic potential. And together we call Helmholtz electrical double layer. So presence of charge, there are charges present on the colloidal particle. By an experiment, this presence of charge on the colloidal particles are determined, that is by the experiment called electrophoresis. For that, colloidal solution is taken in a U tube which is connected with positive and negative plates. We are going to see electrophoresis. Colloidal particles are charged. If you apply an electric field, suppose colloidal particles are negatively charged, they will be moving to the positively charged plate. Electrophoresis. Positive connection is given to that plate and negative connection is given to this plate. And a negatively charged colloidal particle, for example, AS2. Negatively charged, all are negatively charged. Negative. Is AS plus 3, all particles are negatively charged. These particles will be moved into the state. There they get neutralized. So you will see so many particles got attached to this plate that is neutralized. Once they get neutralized, they aggregate together. Thick. You will see thick amount of this ACS3 on that positive plate. So they lose their charge and the aggregation takes place. Once they become neutral by van der Waals force of attraction, they aggregate together. So precipitation occurs over there. They lose their charge. The movement of colloidal particles in an applied electric field is called electrophoresis. This word is very important. What happens when electricity is passed through a colloidal source? See, electricity is passed through a colloidal source. What happens? Electrophoresis. Any solid, any colloid, they may say different names of the colloids. But if it is written salt, that means colloid. When electricity is passed through a salt is charged. When electricity is passed through the salt, what will happen? Electrophoresis will be taken. So movement of colloidal particles under an applied electric field is called electrophoresis. Next is coagulation. We know that colloids are stable. Coagulation means settling down of these colloidal particles. Settling down of these colloidal particles. Coagulation. Just now we saw when this electricity is passed through this negatively charged AS2S3 colloid, they got precipitated. That is, they got coagulated, they got fluctuated. Coalescing had been taken place. Means now it is not a colloid, it is only a precipitate. Aggregation took place because they lost their charges. That is coagulation. By passing this electricity through a colloid, coagulation, settling down or thickening or precipitation takes place. When we get shocked, electricity is passed through our blood. That means blood is a colloid. When electricity is passed, blood got coagulated, thickened. So after getting a shock, the patient is made to run so that the thickening effect of the blood can be reduced. Coagulation takes place when electricity is passed through a colloidal solution. What is coagulation? Settling down, means thickening, settling down or precipitation. That settling down of this colloidal particles, that is called coagulation. There are different methods for the coagulation of lyophobic colloids. It's easy to coagulate lyophobic colloids, but coagulation is not easy in the case of lyophilic colloids. What are the different methods of the coagulation of this lyophobic colloids? Just now what we have seen, by passing electricity. That means by electrophoresis. Or you can mix two oppositely charged colloids. For example, leather, which is negatively charged colloid, can be dipped in tannin, which is positively charged colloid, and thickening of leather means some precipitate will be formed on this leather, or the leather will become thickened. So thickening of leather, we call it as tanning of leather. That means this leather, which is already negatively charged colloid, is dipped into tannin, which is positively charged, and precipitation takes place, and the thickening or tanning of leather is done by mixing what we can say two oppositely charged colloids. Two oppositely charged colloids, when mixed, precipitation takes place, its coagulation will be taking place. Next, by boiling. Another method is by boiling. By boiling, when you boil, the dispersed medium particles will be hitting and removing that adsorbed layer on the precipitate. That means on the colloidal particle. So when that charge is removed, then what happens? Coagulation takes place. When charge is removed from the colloidal particle, coagulation takes place. So molecules of the dispersed medium colloid with the adsorbed layer and disturb it. This reduces the charge on the particles and ultimately they lead to settling down. So that is another method of preparation. Next, you just boil the colloid. On boiling the colloid, the dispersed medium will be disturbing the adsorbed layer. Adsorbed layer is the charged layer. So if you remove that charged layer, then what happens? The particles will be aggregating together and they will be settling. Next, addition of electrolyte. Addition of electrolyte. When you add an electrolyte means plus minus sodium chloride dissolved in water, there is an electrolyte. So when you add the sodium chloride, colloid which is already charged, the negative or positive will be neutralized with the oppositely charged particle present in electrolytes. So colloidal particles will get neutralized again. Takes place. Taking place. I told you when the river water, muddy river water enters the sea water. Sea water contains a lot of electrolytes, Na plus Cl minus, Ca2 plus Cl minus, Mg2 plus SO2 minus. So many positive and negative ions are present in the sea water. So when this negatively charged muddy particles reach there, they are neutralized by the opposite charged particles from the sea water. So what happens? They lose their charge and they become neutral. After neutral, what happens? Aggregation takes place and these particles will be sending as fine particles. Fine particles means those particles we are able to see. It is in the form of a suspension, all the particles will be settling down slowly, and we get that daldal. And on drying, which is due to sunlight, once the rainy season gets over, is daldal, that colloidal, that settled down particles will become dried and becomes a delta on the mouth of that ocean, mouth of that sea, where this river water enters. Another method of coagulation is by persistent dialysis. We know that a little bit of electrolyte is required for the stability, but prolonged dialysis will remove those particles. Prolonged dialysis will be removing that also. Again, that causes precipitation. So these are the methods of coagulation of a lyophobic product. I'm stopping. Thank you. 1 minute. Let me